Hi, this is Jay Philosopher here, and I'm responding to Theo Warner's video, William Lane Craig is not a philosopher. This raises all kinds of interesting questions. What do we want to consider a philosopher? What are the borderlines of philosophy? What is the definition of philosophy? Who fits in and who doesn't fit in? Even if we go back to the very beginning of philosophy, there's all these problems. Even if we want to say, in some sense, that philosophy actually begins with a person, such as Socrates. How do we consider the pre-Socratics and the non-Greek philosophers? Certainly they existed and have a claim to being philosophers. So it's really a matter of personal definition, perhaps. One interesting thing about Christianity that people may not often consider is that there was a group in the 2nd century, the Gnostics, who considered Jesus Christ somehow associated with the god or goddess Sophos, a god or goddess of wisdom. So in the Gnostics, various Gnostic groups actually had Jesus Christ in some kind of relationship with other gods and goddesses, and Sophos was one of the, or wisdom was one of the gods or goddesses that they associated Jesus Christ with. And Orthodox Christianity really doesn't come in until the 3rd century. In the 3rd century, we first find Orthodox Christianity declaring that Gnostics are heretics, and they claim themselves as having an older tradition going back to the 1st century and to Jewish Christianity. But I'm wondering what the relationship of Gnostic Christianity really is to the history of Christianity, which we don't really know. It's kind of very fuzzy, the real history of Christianity. We do know that the Christian emperor Justinian closed down Plato's academy in the year 529, and the Christians had closed down all the other philosophical academies and schools before that. Their idea was that Christians already had the truth and therefore didn't need philosophy to tell them the truth. Ironically, we find in medieval times, about 700 years later, that Christians find that they do need the philosophy of Aristotle to form a backbone or brace for their various dogmas. So we get Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica, which is really the philosophical underpinnings of the Catholic Church at this point in time, and has been for almost 800 years. The way that I see it is kind of the way that I see a drag queen or a man who dresses as a woman. When Christianity dresses as philosophy, should we consider that person as a philosopher, or should we consider the man who dresses as a woman? And I would be hesitant to say no if the man says I'm a woman and really wants to claim that that is their gender. It's hard for me to say no, you're really a man. On the other hand, there is this tendency where it's still a man in a certain sense. So in the same way, when a Christian claims to be a philosopher, they might be just doing it for fun, as a joke, or they might be serious about it. And if they take themselves seriously as a philosopher, then I would say, okay, you're a philosopher. But it's up to each of you to decide. Take care.